Hey everybody, welcome to the Shead Show. I am your host, Ryan Shed. This is my co-host, Ian Sherman. We hope everybody's having a good Friday. We're excited to be here with you. Holy crap, do we have a lot to talk about. With that, just want to say, hey brother, good to see you this week. Hope
Hey
everything,
man, how's everything?
we're doing good over here, brother.
Surviving, striving, thriving.
Start cold, so you put on long pants and a sweatshirt until about 11, and then you have to switch into your shorts and t-shirt. Like we're in that transition period. So yeah, but no, the kids are good. Jen's good. No complaints over here. How's the family?
I love it, man. We're doing good. We're doing good. It's we had we're flirting with winter. Today
Yep.
turned out to be like a 65 temp day. No one knows what to do with New York. No one knows.
No.
And but then it's gonna go down to 30s like this weekend. So it's like,
Ooh.
don't get it twisted. Don't even get it twisted. Don't even.
See, that's
Yeah,
why I
Mother
left
Nature just
Detroit.
flirting with us.
That's why I left Detroit, brother. I
It's
when
so cold in the D.
just you get out and the weather just disrespects your clothes. No, I'm good.
Yo, Mother Nature definitely has done a Mike Tyson left hook on me. All
Ooh,
right, back in Detroit.
I'm
So
telling you.
made you
But New
tough though.
York, New York isn't any better.
No, it's nothing like Detroit. I promise you.
You don't think?
I watched. I know so. I
Because the
literally
lake
first
effect
time
and everything.
the lake effect. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was gonna say to you. I asked my wife when she first came to Detroit for the very first time. I go, look, this ain't dressed like New York cute. This is dressed like you're trying to survive some shit. Okay, like I'm telling you right now. And when I told her, like, hey, we're at Campus Martius, we're downtown Detroit, and I'm like, look south. What do you think? What do you think that place is right there? Those gleaming lights right there down Woodward. She goes, I don't know, and I go, that's Canada. She
Yep.
goes, Canada's south, and I go, yeah,
Yep. We
enjoy
are.
that.
Yeah, we are
North
above
of
Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
I go, yeah, oh yeah. Fun
Oh,
trivial
Canada.
question.
Oh, Canada. Such good memories.
A lot of fun. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it
man.
was.
So but America looks like she's doing just fine. She looks very
Uh,
peaceful. She looks like she's keeping it together.
uh, I don't
She's
know,
she's
man.
wearing democracy real well. She's
Oh, to me, it's like everything's tethered and torn and just burnt on the edges.
I'm wondering when do we do the walk of shame? That's all. I'm just wondering when
I
that
feel like
kicks
we're
in.
already doing it. I feel like we're already
Nah,
being
man.
paraded
If
in front
if
of the.
Trump gets another election, then we're doing it. All right. Then
Oh
the walk of
Jesus,
shame kicks in.
that I can't. How can anybody still be supporting this guy? Like, like there all these polls that he supposedly gained support. What is wrong with you people?
Well, polls are. I really thought
I,
about this. Polls are interesting to me because it's people with their grievances. Okay,
right,
it's I'm mad and I hate the way the direction is going. Be that it's inflation, housing, student loans. It's people voicing I don't like what's going on.
right.
But when it comes down to real, actual voting, it doesn't matter. I really think about this. I think everybody's just saying like, look, man, they're both old. I hate that there's a rematch. I don't like what's going on here and putting fear into the system of saying like no, you know what, I would vote for Trump is kicking a lot of things up where people are like, well, wait a minute, we got to really show up and do what we got to do. But look at what just happened in Ohio, in Kentucky, in Pennsylvania. um, People turned out to vote and they
Yeah.
voted for women's rights, and this is the thing that Democrats need to really pay attention to. Like that is your win. And West Virginia, another perfect example. They literally are letting you know the red carpet is right there. If you're protecting women's rights, period. I guess there's a pun there. If you're protecting women's rights, you're on the winning side of history, and that's something that you really need to understand is that in Ohio, in great Ohio fashion, within 24 hours they retracted that law where they're now trying to say judges can't rule on the Constitution. You're like, so we came out and voted, but now you want to
And you're
change
circumventing that. Yeah.
this. Got it. Okay, so yeah, so it's all bullshit.
So
So
here's a question I have for you. Do you think that when it comes time to vote nationwide for a president, between the two you just said, do you think that women's rights will trump, pun intended, um,
a criminal.
people's no, not the criminal. I'm talking about, we're talking economy, people's money. And I just wonder if when it comes down to people going into the voting booth, if it's going to be the inflation and the food prices that end up becoming more important to voters than.
How did that red wave go?
No, it definitely didn't work. But
It was the same conversation.
but dude,
Then it was about inflation. Then it was about
I
the
I
pocketbook.
I feel like, and I'm just gonna say it. I'm concerned. I'm really concerned
Yeah,
that there's a
yeah,
possibility that Trump could win. So,
absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
and that scares the shit out of me. It really, really does. To
Well, what's
me,
interesting? Well, go ahead.
well, all I was gonna say was, to me, it's like, how can you even be considering a man who has so many court cases that he's losing, that it's evident what he's done. I mean, you're talking about a guy that took classified documents, and people online are trying to say that they're literally calling them Trump's classified documents. They're not Trump's classified documents. They're the ours. They belong to the government, and he took them
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and took them to his personal residence. Like,
right.
and it wasn't just like a couple of papers that got thrown in a box and accidentally made it down there. I think most rational people would say, okay, that shit could happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, couple papers, fine. I can believe that. I can,
Right.
believe that that was an honest mistake. But when you've got boxes in the toilet, in the ballroom that you have, on the stage, like, you
I
had
mean, when you're
seven.
literally moving them around to keep them away from
Yeah,
people obtaining them,
playing
yeah,
yeah,
it's
playing
very
three
evident.
card Monty with them,
But
while
at
the
the same
feds are
time, the
coming.
people who got their hands on them, the people who actually saw them, the people who shared information from it, and then to see the wars that are breaking out right now and to see the attacks that have
Makes
taken
you wonder.
place, it doesn't make me wonder. I can't imagine that the people who are behind some of these attacks and some of the money and some of the influences that they want power wise, the fact that Jared Kushner is getting the billions that he got from Saudi Arabia, I
Yes.
don't wonder. It's just I want to see the receipts. I want to
Yeah.
see what was actually traded.
By the way, can I just point out that the Saudi prince has come out and said that they will keep that money in Jared Kushner's investment fund if Trump wins in 2024. So it's
Okay.
an investment fund that they move the money to. But we all know that, yeah, you can do interesting shit from
And
there.
Jared is not that smart of a guy. He's not. He's
He
real
really
estate here in
isn't,
New York.
dude. He
And
just,
he came from his father's business. That's
yeah,
it's a nepo kid. That's all it is.
yep,
It's not. And even looking at Trump's a nepo kid. Like it's not really anything special. None of these people made it starting from scratch. They
yeah,
didn't.
no,
They're off the backs of their parents who did
yep.
corrupt shit here in New York to get where they
They
got.
had they had the resources to get to where they are today.
Completely. And
Absolutely.
they were in the circles that were rubbing the shoulders to
Oh,
keep the
excuse me.
cocktail parties going, and it was what it was. So
Yes.
it's not like they came here and they put up, they pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, all that bullshit.
No.
Like it's non-existent.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of New York and pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, can we talk about George Santos for a minute?
Okay, first off, that's by his heels. Okay. That bitch. That bitch. Can I just say that I am going to be here collecting donations for my OnlyFans account so I
Oh,
can enjoy myself. All right. That is Botox, designing shoes,
Sephora.
going to Jersey, Sephora, OnlyFans, and the list continues, and then paying rent and credit card debt. I
Like,
mean, priceless. But this is what he got caught in Brazil, right?
yeah,
This the same exact type of
I think
crime.
it's the same type of thing.
Same,
Yeah.
same. Literally stole someone's pocketbook, bought all this shit, whatever, and his mother was the cleaner, and then he had to, which just recently had to pay that back, so he
Which he
wouldn't
paid
be.
with the donor money that he had.
You can't make this up. But
No.
it's so interesting to me that I'm trying to understand the process of last year they tried to expel him, they didn't do it, they didn't get the votes. This year the Republicans
Wasn't it
tried to
last
expel
month?
him.
Oh, no.
It's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
three
yeah.
times,
Nope. You're right. You're
three
right. My
times.
fault. Yep.
So
Yep.
last year, then this last month, the Republicans tried to, because the first one was Democrats,
Yep.
second was now the Republicans, and now the Republicans are again now doing it. But it's like it took for this ethics report to come out for now everybody to be on board. I mean, part of me feels like Democrats are sitting back laughing, watching all the Republicans in the circle of this area in Queens, in New York, that are neighboring districts, like they're like, it's just an embarrassment for all of them that this is happening in their district. Like they're really rubbing their face in it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, did Democrats really not vote to expel him because they knew long term this would be a great, it's playing chess. This would be a great win
And it
for
would
them to
be
take it over
closer to the election.
and be closer to election versus expelling him. And then now they have to fill the seat and then they have the election in a moment.
But can I be honest with you, bro? Like that bothers me.
Yeah.
It bothers me because while I totally get what you just said, like,
Playing politics.
exactly, it makes sense from the standpoint of, okay, I get that, like that part, it makes sense,
Yeah.
but to me, that doesn't overrule having a fraud voting on legislation for a year just so you can get this haha got you moment.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
bothers me because that to me that's not Congress working. That's
It's,
not
but you tell me right now, is Congress working? Because it really, how many government shutdowns do we need
well,
to
the
have
House sure as
on
hell
the
isn't.
brink of? But that's the part.
Well,
He's
no,
a part of the
if you're
House.
talking about government shutdown, that's both chambers. That's across the board.
But it's what I mean by that is when you see what's happening with the House Speaker being kicked, like we're seeing shit that we've never seen before, that
Yes.
even our parents haven't seen before, and
Yeah.
it's like this is really wild to us right now. And I mean, and it's not to say that it's just Santos. Santos just felt so comfortable doing it. I mean, Mendez with the gold bars in his pocket. Uh,
Yep.
um, you have a number of different politicians who literally are being investigated as we speak right now. It's just not fully out as to what extent that they have to have the ethics board in it, one, and then also a criminal case look into these people. And
Yeah.
Santos is, to my mind, he's fucked. He's even
Oh yeah.
having staffers who are pleading guilty to the charges and like trying to like get themselves a plea deal. So it's like it's really wild right now.
That's insane. Oh
But yes,
man. So it, I think it's good to point out too that a lot of the people that, as you pointed out a minute ago, voted against removing him the last couple times have now
right.
come like and I think you kind of said this, but have now come out and said, okay, that's enough for me to actually do it. So the good news is that it's looking like he doesn't stand a chance. He's going to get
No,
removed, and he's being referred to the Department of Justice.
right.
So yeah,
With this report, like
yeah,
you guys need to look into this,
they're
which I
basically
love.
handing him to him, with on a silver platter.
With an apple in his mouth.
Yeah,
It's really interesting because I love that he was so defiant. Like, I'm running for reelection. I am not stepping down. This shit came out. He goes, I will not be
I will
running for
not be running for
reelection.
reelection. And we were like, and that will not
Literally,
be enough to save
side
your
by
ass.
side, and boop, here it is. There's the two versions.
Yep.
So that's that.
So moving on to the next uh, conspiracy theory, fraud, whatever you want to call it. Insurrection is what I call it. Some people call it a sightseeing tour. But they released all the January 6th tapes. So the new Speaker of
Mm.
the House came out and said that that's what he promised to do. So he's done it. It's 40,000 plus hours of video that's being released. So what are your thoughts on what this is going to do here?
It's interesting to me because it just seems like Republicans like to play their hand when you don't see the footage and they talk about, well, it's mostly peaceful, and it's like, well, okay, we have this footage that's here that shows you all the exterior shots of how they got into the building. We all have a very clear understanding that the police were told to stand down at a certain point, that they did not want police killing unarmed or some armed white
Or,
Americans,
or
because if it
getting
was Black
themselves
Lives
killed?
or getting, well, we know what would happen because there was too
Yeah,
many of them. They
yeah.
were not planned for this.
Nope.
So, but you kill a couple, and I mean, because people want the cop who shot that chick who was trying to jump through the window
Ashley
in
Babbitt. Yep.
Ashley Babbitt,
And
and
if you won't say
and
it, I will. She got what she deserved that day. It's sad that she lost her life. It is. I feel bad for, her loved
you
ones,
know,
but
Ryan,
she got it.
I will say to you something that is very simple. She died doing what she loved.
Ooh,
Okay. And I'm not taking shots at her at that, but she believed so fully what that was. She was willing to die on that hill. and there are a lot of
Yeah.
puns in that, and it is what it is.
No, I mean,
Um,
I've never
you
really
know, but
looked at
it's
it that way.
yeah, but she died doing what she loved, and I don't
Something that
feel
she really believed in.
she did. She believed in
Yeah,
it, and it's
yeah,
and that's the magnitude of even that blood is on Trump's hands, because
I think so.
I cannot stand by and let him or any politician say, well, this is what they believed. They believed the election was stolen. They believed it because it was an echo chamber of you saying it on news media pushing it, them watching it, and then you telling them that that's what they're believing, that that's what they're
Yeah,
seeing, and it's just this circle of fuckery that really persisted. And I won't accept anything but the fact that you had all of America's intelligence telling you, people in your own camp telling you, lawyers telling you, you had multiple tiers of people telling you everything checks, the checks and balances, everything checks out.
yeah,
And you still went online, you still went on TV, you still went to rallies and said what you said because you wanted this result. And
yeah,
these people followed you. And this is still the base, Ryan, that is following them. And yes, they're not going to be swayed. Keep in
no,
mind, Obama had low numbers uh, uh, at this period of his presidency going into a second term. We still have a year ahead of us. And I want you to keep this in mind too. You're talking about inflation and housing and everything that's happening here in America. Look globally at
yeah,
what's happening. We are doing way better than
yes,
every country. So when you say that we are doing bad or that Biden, Sleepy Joe, is not doing his job, we are actually leaps and bounds better than other countries, better than Russia, better than China, better than Japan, better than Germany. Germany is dealing with it.
yep,
Britain is dealing with it. We have a better grasp and we have more growth right now taking place. I know it sucks. I know it's hard right now. And if these numbers are the same, or if we do tip into a recession, if we do get pulled into a war, things can go either way right now.
yeah,
It really can. But you see how Biden has mobilized and brought people together and what he's doing. I mean, his sit down with Shead just this week, monumental, to really lower the temperature of everything. I do, and even attacking the fentanyl problem,
yep,
really making sure that that is on the forefront. There was a agreement back when Trump was there, but nothing really. It was just a wink and a smile. We're not really doing anything.
right,
He's really trying to tackle that and save American lives.
yeah,
So it's going to be quite interesting to see what comes out of the next year. But the threat is real. Your threat, your fear of this is absolutely real.
yeah. And what I'm already seeing is what they're going to do with these tapes is they're going to cut them. They're going to cut the areas where there might be peaceful times, where the cops are
Of
talking to
course,
people, you
yeah.
know, and the ones that I've seen so far, the one thing I've noticed about them is this: they don't have any timestamps on them. So here's my issue with
Can I
that.
add this? Can I add
Yeah,
this to
no,
what you're
please,
saying though?
please, please.
When you're talking about the cops talking to them, keep in mind that it was cops that were actually a part of this insurrection.
Yeah,
And
there were
by that I mean that it's people from out of state who showed up, who are law enforcement, who do know the law, and who participated willingly in this.
Yep.
And so therefore I would not be surprised if they were talking to cops while saying, I'm a cop back in Chicago, blah blah, or I'm a cop back in, Illinois, wherever, what town,
Yeah.
you know, fill in the blank. And it's like that's the thing that I find so interesting is that you look at the demographic that actually was storming the Capitol, and you look at some of the people who literally lost their job, who were winning their elections, uh, being that they were small demographic elections, but city council and everything else, and wherever area, police officers, a couple police chiefs, and then you look at a couple people who were also in protect and serve type of roles, being essential workers, and then you look at some of the cops that were there that were defending, and then they're like, I don't want to die for this. I'm letting them in. Like I'm not losing my life over
I
this.
think that's a very important distinction. I'm going to show a video that I hope people don't forget as they're seeing these misrepresented and, cut specifically to, support their agenda and position. This is a video we shouldn't forget. And like Ian said, the one thing we should all remember is if you don't want to go back and watch the testimony of the officers that testified before Congress and hearing their stories. Like Harry Dunn, he's wrote a book, go buy it. And these guys, or these officers, were very outnumbered, and at some point had to decide, okay, we're going to have to, either they're going to kill us all, or we're going to have to figure
We have to
this out.
de-escalate the situation,
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. And you can see in the video how what they did was they tried to pack as many officers in entrances as they could to try to keep them out. So they tried to strategically place the manpower that they did have. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. So
And they're talking
again,
about hours of this where they were
hours.
rotating
Yep.
police officers who were to the max fatigued.
And yeah, they couldn't go more than 15, 30 minutes and they were done. They were getting, pulled back, and somebody's having to fill. Yeah, it's crazy. So don't forget this video when they're trying to flip it around on you.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
And I bet you the footage that will be released will be only internal footage. That is, I mean, if they're releasing the whole thing, 40 plus 1,000 hours, they are going to cut clips where they're going to remove all that from happening and just show people walking inside taking photos.
Yep. See the cops shaking their hand. Yeah, because they're trying not to get freaking overtaken by thousands of people.
My favorite is the clip of the cop walking into the main floor, the house floor.
Yeah, he literally tells me,
and asking politely,
politely,
okay, you've been in here, like it's time to go. Come on, guys, it's time to go. Like, you're not barking orders as a police officer when you are literally
said to them, "I'm outnumbered." Yeah, he told them that. Well, I'm outnumbered. Yeah. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, you ain't gonna be a dick. I'll tell you that right now.
And that's the part that upsets me. The thin blue line. We support the police, conservatives. It's like
back the blue, baby.
Yeah, you guys didn't give a fuck.
That's how I know. It had nothing to do with back in the blue.
No. Oh, Kaylin, thank you so much for being here. So I sent her a message literally 15 minutes before we went on. So thank you for coming out with late notice. You're awesome. But I think releasing the January 6th tapes is a good place for us to actually talk about the DNC headquarters that went down.
Yeah.
So
it's getting really hard, man, to differentiate the two.
Mm.
You go too far left, you find yourself, swimming in the right. Tell me right now. Hey. It's the world we live in right now is quite interesting and quite complex, and I love the voices that are yearning to have a seat at the table. But it's really quite interesting to see how misguided some people are really coming off. Yeah. And it's very telling on where they're getting their information from. And we'll jump into this, but there's a couple things that are tied to this that I think we have to unpack.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I going into this, I just want to say this, and we kind of talked about this earlier. While this is not okay, and it did not help their agenda at all, like it did not get anybody on their side, it is still not comparable to what happened January 6th. You cannot call what happened at the headquarters an insurrection. You can't.
I can't really get behind us using past events in some way, shape, or form. And by that I mean how they call October 7th in Israel 10 9/11s or 15 9/11s or 27 9. Them trying to put an impact to it, I just think you're dumbing it down. October 7th was a very tragic event, period. I don't need to put a number to it in some way, shape, or form of how many 9/11s it is. It lessens, it waters down the situation. Yeah. With this being liberals attacking and protesting and really just looking like a group of asses out there. You're not doing anything, and it's not the same thing. It wasn't for an election to overturn the peaceful transfer of power. This was, you want a ceasefire, You feel like it's not working out. You sitting there in the streets protesting, and so
Yeah.
you now want to storm the DNC, which there's nobody there who's making that decision. I don't even care if you took over the building. You now look like Hamas. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, like I said, the only thing I'm going to say about it is I don't think it was okay. I don't think it helped anybody's agenda. I get everybody's upset. I see why. I personally empathize with, like I said, I empathize with innocent, Jewish people, Israelis. I empathize with innocent Palestinians. And that's just where I'm going to stand with it. I mean, as somebody who served in the military during a time of war, um, I already know how bad it is.
Yeah.
I already know what's happening over there.
You,
I know how freaking horrible it is.
what's
And
wild to me is the breakdown of the aftermath of October 7th and them talking about the extent of how much rape and murder took place.
yeah, it's
And
it's sickening.
and it's
Sickening.
very telling by the way the IDF and the way that Netanyahu is fighting with very little thought about life to understand the raw footage they have witnessed
Yeah,
of those attacks, to see what happened, to see them watch that footage and then to come out and talk about what they're doing. I could see these Freudian slips of them calling people animals and calling them whatever because of how
vermin.
ravenous
Yeah,
and vermin and to see how grotesque this attack really was. And the attack was on people who were actually pro-Palestine. That's the
yes,
thing. That's what's so telling. It literally is almost like watching the left be attacked, who are the same people asking for a ceasefire. They'd be the same ones who would be getting killed at these festivals, at on these kibbutzes. Everything that happened it would have happened to them.
yeah.
And the fact that they have the talking points of Hamas, I'm really sitting here like, when are we going to correct people's language about this? Well, the health minister said that it's 11,000 now deaths. The Hamas government runs that health organization.
Yes, they're going to put out misinformation.
And it's not even that they're putting out misinformation. It's also that it's the Hamas who have died in those numbers. It's not just women and children that have died.
Yeah,
It's the total collective. And they're saying the numbers may be more true as they're going through this. I was just saying this is somebody that we're not going to know more of this until in hindsight that we have a better idea. But in the thick of it, as we are right now, you have to be very open-minded to everything that's kind of coming your way. I just see you smirking.
oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't you. No, I'm in the comments. Kaylin just put up. She's been having some personal stuff and she's been taking time off. So, but she came on for us to support us, which thank you so much.
Thank you. We missed you.
Yes.
We tried to start on time, but clearly CP is a real thing. All right, color people time is a real thing. So here we are.
I don't know why it
Here
makes
we
you laugh
are.
every time you say it. All right.
Yeah.
So we're talking about DNC headquarters. I think you and I both agree that that was not an acceptable display or protest at all. And I'm just going to say, and I feel safe saying this on both of our behalfs, on this show, we do not support Hamas. We do not support terrorism. Like, I just want to make that abundantly freaking clear for anybody. Terrorism is terrorism. Like I keep saying, for me personally, that's why I say innocent Israelis, innocent Palestinians, because there's so many of them. And those are the people that I go to sleep at night thinking about.
Two of
Those
the
are the,
worst two of the worst people are running both sides of their countries, their
yes,
organizations, their governments. Bibi
from where I'm
Netanyahu,
sitting,
it does not speak for all Israelis,
no,
and Hamas does not speak for the Palestinians, and they
correct.
both have to go, plain and
Yes.
simple. They neither one of them want peace, and that's the issue.
So here's my last
Um,
question to you on this. Do you think that after, what happened October 7th, do you think that Israel's response has been a proportionate one?
I think that people have not had time to mourn, and they are fighting um, because, putting in perspective, this is the worst situation that's happened to them since the Holocaust. and it's in their DNA. We will never do that again. We will never go quietly.
Yeah, we're
We
not
will
going
never.
back to that. Yeah,
We're never going back. We are not walking with our hands in our pockets into a gas chamber.
rightfully
The
so.
fact that this is in their DNA, and if you look up trauma and how trauma is passed in DNA, you have a better understanding that this shook them to their core. And again, I can't touch on this. The amount of rape and murder that took place there in their what in their minds was their safe place
Mm,
to
yeah,
be objectified, to be wounded in their safe place, and to lose their children, to lose their grandmothers, to lose their family, and not even on a level of, okay, they came in here and shot. No, they tortured and murdered families around a dinner table.
yeah. It,
They
it's
raped
sick.
moms
It's
while
sick.
babies were in ovens. Like, when you talk about this and put it in context of what happened and the stories that are coming out, you have to understand that how would you react to your family being treated this way?
Yeah.
And this is the part where you look at Hamas and you go, well, there's a lot of intelligence saying that you're hiding underneath hospitals. Here's something I want to address on that.
Okay.
Why the fuck do I care what a doctor thinks about where militants are hiding in a hospital? A doctor can't even point you to where the janitor's closet is. They are not custodians. I would like to speak to the facilities manager. I would like to speak to the custodian, because they know every inch, nook and cranny in that whole facility. Plain and simple. A
Yeah.
doctor knows his office. He knows his operating room. He maybe knows his nurse's name. Like, let's be serious right now. Doctors who are sitting here being interviewed by everybody left and right, I'm like, why do I give a fuck what this doctor thinks? He's not a military specialist. He's not in the army. He literally is just a doctor. Now, granted, he is advocating for his patients' lives. Plain and simple. If I want to know what a doctor thinks,
Yeah.
that's what I need to ask. How much fuel do you have to keep this place running? How much this do you have? How much?
Food, water. Yeah.
But you do not know the nooks and crannies. You don't know the boiler system. You don't know any of this stuff. So why would you be the one that is now advocating, saying, there's no Hamas here? Why are you asking me about Hamas? It's like, why are they asking about Hamas to this person? They have nothing to do with the conversation. So I just feel it's such a waste of time that is the go-to. Doctor says there's no Hamas in the hospital. Okay,
Yeah.
where's the janitor?
Well, and they're also
I bet you
saying,
he could point a couple places that you're like, well, actually, that's the door we never go in, and people come in and out.
yeah,
Just saying.
yeah, and it's got a removable floor. Um, but I mean, I think that's a serious thing to point out, because for anybody who isn't quite familiar with, rules of engagement and rules that we try to follow during times of war, you don't attack hospitals, you don't attack medic units out on the field trying to
Schools, everything.
schools. There are supposed to be rules to this stuff,
Right.
and the issue that a lot
And
of
even a ceasefire, there's rules to it.
there's rules to it, and I
Are
think
we really going to see that one-sided, or will it be that it'll be a ceasefire on both ends?
I don't, me personally, my personal opinion is we're not going to see it. At least we're not going to see it on both sides.
No.
And that's the problem. But this is not going to go away. It's going to get worse. And I just, the things that they're not supposed to be attacking, they're attacking. That's what bothers a lot of us, because we know that, they're saying, oh, there's a tunnel under the hospital. It's like, okay, so what are you going to do? Bomb the fucking hospital just because you think there's a tunnel under it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just,
there's a fine line that is that, but that's
right.
The part where they're talking about that they're going in the tunnels in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then of course the propaganda comes out that was planted. Okay.
Yeah. But again, would it be smart to do that? Yeah, because most people aren't going to bomb a freaking hospital. But right. is that?
But that's also a war crime, is building your base underneath the hospital.
Exactly.
So it's both sides are dirty in all of this.
Exactly.
Once again.
And that's where I think a lot of Americans are missing
A lot of Americans who are
the
this far
context.
away from the the battle
Yeah, me
and have
included.
never seen,
Well, I mean, whether you
but you've
haven't,
engaged, you've seen it.
well, I've seen a little bit, but whether you have or haven't, it's like uh, anybody that can think rationally should be able to look at this and go, there's no positive outcome for either side.
None.
And there does not appear to be a diplomatic resolution to this anytime in the near
Now with the
future.
leadership that is in power
No.
right now, no.
So realizing those things and
Yeah,
realizing that to fight terrorism, you have to do some shit that you normally wouldn't do. That's just a
right.
fucking reality. And if you
Yes.
can't understand that, I'm sorry.
And
And
that's the
that's
thing that the people of Palestine have to uprise against. If they
that's
don't
that's the big
want this,
problem.
they have to get behind removing it from the core.
Yep.
And that's the part where it's like, you know what? But I also feel like Israel's not is fighting with such a ferocious energy that they don't even care for their own hostages. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't bomb like that if you're really trying to get hostages.
No.
I'm sorry, because the first thought would be like, I don't want to bomb something, and then that where they're holding the hostages. You know, you don't do that.
It does kind of seem like they have the mentality of, you know, uh,
Collateral damage.
acceptable collateral damage. And especially, unfortunately, and I don't know this, of course, because I have no experience with Israeli military, but it becomes easy to look at soldiers as numbers,
But these
and
are
I
not soldiers that we're talking about. We're talking about civilians, children.
true, yeah, but you can look at anybody as a freaking
A number.
casualty. These
Yeah,
people can rationalize it in their head that this is a military operation. This has to be carried out. It sucks that we're going to end up killing 30 freaking civilians,
and that's if
but
they know, because they're not going to be told that. It's going to
if
be
they know,
compartmentalized.
well, that's very true. But
Right.
the people that are
Attack
given
this place.
the
They
people that are
have
given
notes
the
and stuff.
orders usually know. The person pulling the trigger or launching they may
That's
not
what I
know.
mean.
Yeah, they
Right.
may not know, but the people giving the orders do, and
Right.
that's what I wish more people kind of could wrap their head around a little bit.
Well, and
Um,
that's the thing that I really keep wrapping my head around is that, when you talk about a ceasefire, it's like, well, Hamas is coming out saying that they're going to do this attack. They're going to have another October 7th
yep.
attack, a second time, a third and fourth until they wipe out Israel. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Why am I asking for a ceasefire when this motherfucker over here is popping off saying this kind of wild ass shit?
Yeah.
But then you want to be saying like we need to protest and we need to get a ceasefire because what they're doing is there has to be
It's a
something
mess,
brought
man.
to the
It's a
table,
mess.
and it's a hot mess. And but this is by design.
Yeah.
It's really by design.
So again, I'm going to end this segment with we do not support terrorism. We do not support Hamas. Me personally, I support all the innocent people on both sides. Um, you know, like I said, I think what bothers me the most is that I don't see any positive outcome. I don't
No,
see,
nobody wins.
I don't
Nobody's
see a
winning this.
reason for this. Like it's an attack being conducted. You know, I don't know,
There was
man.
it was wild to see that Saudi Arabia was about to have a deal with Israel, which was going to make that break a brokerage deal of peace within the Muslim and Israeli community.
Mhm.
And all that was really looking very positive, and then this happened.
Yep.
And when I say that to you, it was like it was more of a civil war happening in Israel, where the liberals and these conservatives were really going at it because they were really against what Netanyahu was doing, which is what the settlements in the
Yeah.
West Bank. And I think that Biden needs to really crack down on that, and he needs to really explain that if you think that you're going to use our money, our resources to do this to people,
Yeah.
we have to rethink our deal because
Yep.
we will have to leave you alone if that's the
Yeah.
case. You know,
And MJ said here, Netanyahu is trying to deflect from what was going on before all this happened. They were trying to kick him out.
oh,
Um,
there's no doubt about that. I mean, what his stunt with the
he
Supreme
came pretty
Court.
close. Yeah, he came pretty
Well,
close.
no, he was removing power from the Supreme Court, and
Yeah.
that's where one of the biggest protests was going to take place after October 7th, before this happened. Literally that week of.
So hard to believe in coincidence like that.
I don't know how a landscape that small that has a massive army takes 8 hours to get to that side of where they're being attacked.
Yeah.
take with that what you think.
Well, I'll continue praying for all the innocent people, and not that it does a whole lot, but yeah, I just hope that somebody can figure out a way to end this shit sooner rather than later. With that, let's talk about our own shitstorm. I want to
Great
start with.
segue. It's a great segue.
It was, wasn't it?
You even had a swoop. Our own shitstorm. All right.
Yep, we got our own. So let's start with Senator Markwayne Mullin, who was trying to start a fight with the Teamster. The president of the Teamsters, Sean O'Brien. So just in case anybody hadn't seen the clip, and really I just like watching it anyway, so I'm going to play it for you and then we'll talk about it.
About Mr. O'Brien himself, his behavior, as everybody knows, and it's here. And the last time, him and I kind of had a back and forth. But after you left here, you got pretty excited about the keyboard. In fact, you tweeted at me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And let me read what the last one said. It said, "Greedy CEO who pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Fraud. Always has been, always will be. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy." Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution every
Hold it. No, sit down. Sit down. Look at you. You're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond? Mr.
Hey,
United
I
States,
voted for Bernie. I'm just letting y'all know. I voted for Bernie. Okay, that's it.
Bernie had to play dad.
Hey, anytime you get this from Grandpa, you sit your ass down. All right, I'm telling you right now. My man hit you with that.
He literally had to. You're a United States Senator. Sit your ass down.
You put that hand in the mic when you do that, though. You were a United States
Senator.
sit your sit your ass down.
I mean,
Bernie hit him with it. That's some
did.
Yoda. That's some Yoda hands right there, boy. He
sit
said
down.
straight
just
up.
sit down.
Sit your ass down here. I love it.
And I just have to, remind folks, if you didn't know, we're from Detroit, so we're well versed on this. But Jimmy Hoffa lost power with the Teamsters, and he was trying to get it back, and he was warned off by some folks, and he didn't listen. And in 1975, he just disappeared one day. They haven't found him yet. Markwayne Mullin might want to fucking remember that. Like, these Teamsters don't fuck around. You think your 3 MMA fights are going to do anything? 2 of them were against the same guy who had like an 11-2 record. You suck.
Man.
You're 5'8". You look like you're 165 pounds. I'm 6'4", 250 pounds. You want to fuck around with people like me and Sean O'Brien? Be my guest, dude.
Sean O'Brien looks like he is not playing
He
around.
will fuck him up. And he was ready to. He stood up. He was fucking around. And then Markwayne wants to go on all these podcasts and shit and talk about how Sean had all this fear in his eyes. I was like, bro, I watched that video. I've seen the photos. There was no
Sean looks like he's dead, all right, in his eyes. He looks like he's just like, let's go.
He'll put you in the backyard and go to sleep.
Where is he from? Where's Sean? Where is he from?
Boston, I think.
In Boston, because I was gonna say
so.
that his accent is like it's so pure.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty.
But what I
sure
mean is
Boston.
that he sounds like he's definitely not. He sounds like he came up the ranks. Let me put it that way.
Oh, absolutely.
Self-made.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He's not up there talking about
silver spoon, anything.
And bro, then he went on and Bernie was asking him a question or something. He said, he just said a lot of things and a lot of he said he didn't say lies, but he said something. And Markwayne starts responding, and Sean goes, "What'd you say?" I'd laugh, and Bernie was like, "Come on, man, answer the question."
Hey, you shut up now. You answer the question.
He was so done. But what made Sean O'Brien look good, and what made Markwayne look like the douche that he is that Sean O'Brien went on news stations and was like, "This is what they do. Like, what is this going to accomplish?" And at the end of the day,
this man was elected in this position,
right?
And this is how he chooses to use his power.
And you know what? This is how I'm going to end this. Want to know what makes somebody a coward? When they sit up in a position of power and challenge somebody to a physical fight that they know they can't respond to in the forum they're in. That's some
Because those cops were right there. Those cops were right there.
Yeah, they weren't going to let that
there.
shit happen. Bernie wasn't going to let that happen. Plenty of people in that room were not going to let that happen.
Well, first off, how much of a walk you would have to do around that table to get like I'm talking about.
I'm gonna fuck you up.
You know what I mean?
Like by the time you get there, you're tired.
It's a massive U shape. You know what I mean? Him and Bernie are at the very top of it.
Yep.
He would have to walk all the way down. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Cute. Not going to happen.
It was cute, and it was meant to be a viral moment. Like I said, that just makes you a coward because you knew exactly what you were doing.
Did you see that he grabbed his ring though?
Yeah, he took his ring off. Some people were like, first off, if you're getting in a fight, you ain't taking the ring off.
I said, hey, was he doing this off camera?
Right.
Was he doing get his little
he started to undo his belt buckle too.
He got his lead press nails off and everything.
I mean,
I've seen harder women, all right, here in New York. Throw down. I'm just letting you know right now.
Want to know? I've seen members of Congress throw down better than that, like Jasmine Crockett. Can we just talk about her for a second?
You ain't gotta talk about nobody's crush today, okay? You ain't gotta talk about nobody's crush.
Hey, I'm gonna fight you.
Miss Crockett, I am moving to Dallas, okay? You have inspired me.
We're both gonna get divorced after they see this podcast. But
you go down your own
I know
train wreck. I'm not going on.
You need flowers and a puppy or something. But no, in all seriousness though, Jasmine Crockett went off. I think it was a few weeks ago actually, but I just came across this video of a response from Sara Gonzales of The Blaze, and I'm putting it on my platform because it completely disgusts me. And I often get asked, what do you mean by racism? What? I don't understand. This is what a racist bitch looks like. So pay attention. Give me a second.
Jasmine Crockett, who apparently is from the Dallas area and is extremely embarrassing. I want to play a little snippet from her part of the impeachment inquiry hearing. Watch.
But when we start talking about things that look like evidence, they want to act like they blind. They don't know what this is. These are our national secrets. Looks like in the to me.
Of course, referring to Trump's classified
This looks
documents.
like more evidence of our national secrets.
All right, that isn't working because it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to see the whole thing. It ain't gonna make sense if you can't see her.
That was amazing.
Well, she goes on and just says some crazy shit. Like it is.
I don't know who she is. Who is she?
She's from Texas. Her name's Sara Gonzales with an S at the end. She works for The Blaze, and she just goes off and says some really disgusting shit. She calls her a hood rat. Some other stuff.
All the coded language that is
exactly. Starts doing this with her head. She's like, but I wouldn't do that if I was in Congress. Like, bitch. It was just it was absolutely disgusting. And to call Jasmine Crockett a hood rat, you're talking about somebody who is a Rhodes Scholar, who freaking has a law degree. Like,
yeah, she's amazing.
To call her a hood rat.
And this is her freshman year, and she's killing it.
And she's killing it.
She's like, when we talk about her versus like Lauren Boebert or your favorite
Marjorie Taylor.
There it is. I don't even say her name. She's like Voldemort to me. Okay, I don't say that bitch's name. But when you think about the impact of someone's freshman year versus you line them up and you see what they've actually accomplished and what they've brought to the table, it's a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
You have to be so perfect being a black woman or a person of color in this country to have that position, and it's so quickly taken from underneath you because of the opposition, where someone like Boebert or MJT, whatever, and MTG, where they could be a fumbling idiot, and it's not even a Freudian slip. It's just they are just fumbling idiots on what they talk about. Not even knowing what department someone's in. The most recent clip of your girl blaming them for being DHS when they're head of FBI. It's like, that's not my department. I'm not there. Yeah. And then you just see her stumbling over herself as she's trying to realize how she's going to troll this individual. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, speaking of trolling, let's move on since that video didn't work to some of these other might not work. So I apologize, guys. They must have changed something on here because that's never been a problem. But Mia,
I
Bill
think it's me,
Burr's,
man. I think it's me.
it's not you. Mia
I'm
and
bringing
Bill,
this. I'm bringing the funk to this
you
show.
bring good luck. We just happen to be late every once in a while. Mia, Bill Burr's wife, gave a nice salute to Trump at UFC. I hope it centers right. Come on, show it. Dude,
I love Bill Burr and I love his wife.
They're trying to cancel him over it. I'm like, are you people
Who is trying to cancel him? Let's get out of here.
conservatives? They're all like, oh, Bill Burr needs to divorce her. Bill Burr's gonna. I'm never watching Bill Burr again. I'm like, apparently you never fucking watched him to begin with. Like if you.
And they have a beautiful love story. Like they're
Yeah.
them on social media. I mean, it's just like your love story. It's quite amazing, you know,
Yeah.
to see that relationship flourish and just thriving in all ways, shapes, and forms. It's just so beautiful.
Absolutely.
But who doesn't love a good 2-finger salute?
I mean, especially to him.
Oh my God.
All right, so let's try to get to the last few clips here because I want to talk about Cornell and Columbia are among 7 schools that are being investigated for anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Now, before we go into this, I just want to put this out front. This does not mean that they are guilty. It just means that there have been investigations opened. So we'll see what comes of it. But it's definitely not a good look, though, is it, bro?
It's not even that it's just not a good look. It's up all around the country. So the fact that you're talking about these higher institutions where it's there to provoke thought, when you're there to provoke debate, to talk things out and actually find, commonality, but also at the same time challenge viewpoints, to see that it's thriving in those halls. And it doesn't matter if you're just some poor kid down the street or you're one of these rogue scholars. It's there. It's in the DNA, and it just tells you the times that we're in right now. But I definitely blame a lot where people are getting their information. The same people who are trying to ransack the DNC headquarters because of their ceasefire protests to this situation. There's a fine line where the left has gone too far, and it's almost a snake eating its own tail. And you're seeing them become the right.
Now, let's talk a little bit about these videos that are coming out, specifically on TikTok, I believe it is, but it's all over on social media now. Apparently, there's some Gen Z younger people talking about a letter that Bin Laden had written, decades
ago. 2000. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, decades ago.
A long time ago. Yeah.
And apparently now they're grasping onto this letter and saying, "Oh, he was right," and things like that. So, what are your thoughts on this?
So the thing that is getting me is that people who get their information from TikTok or from just social media in general, right? Our grandparents or our parents used to be Facebook, where they got their news, especially in 2016, 2020. That's where that whole movement was. Well, the younger generation, of course, moves away from senior citizens. They went with TikTok. Snapchat, all these different locations where we do not have control over who is force feeding the algorithm a lot of this shit. If you have enough people who are trolling and putting it out there, it will pick up steam and it will circulate. His letter pretty much was attacking capitalism, and though capitalism has its horrific effects on us, like inflation and everything that's going on, which we're talking about right now, the two things can be true. You're paying higher prices for something because they're blaming it on inflation. And also companies are having record-breaking years with all their profits. And it's just like, well, wait a minute. How is it you're having record-breaking profits, but I'm paying top dollar? It seems like it's inflated by design. Yes. So you got to ask these conversations and you have to realize, and that's where you use your dollar. I'm no longer shopping with you. I don't need it. And really attacking them where their wallet is. So when you're talking about that, Bin Laden has this letter where he is attacking capitalism, but No one's talking about what do you replace it with. We're not going with jihad. We're not going to go down this rabbit hole where we're going to cover up all of our women, look like Iran 1975 to Iran today. We're not
Yeah.
going in that direction. So you look at all these things that these young people are looking at him as a freedom fighter, and you're like, do you even understand remotely what that entails, what comes with that? So I don't know where the youth is today. I just find it very interesting that they are rebelling to a whole nother level, and we're not listening to them, because why are they going to these sources for this information?
Yeah. No, that's a fair point. I mean,
Maybe we should stop banning books and actually start talking about shit.
speaking of, a big shout out to Pink, who has who's been dropping off banned books at her.
That's a bad chick.
That's a bad woman.
That's a bad chick.
Woman. Yeah, no. Thank you, Pink. That's awesome. So keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. Not all heroes wear capes.
Amen to that. Some of them go up in the rafters and do crazy acrobatic shit.
I love what she does. She is amazing.
She's amazing. And to be able to sing while doing that, like,
yeah, she's a true artist.
Yeah.
Might be a vocal track there, but yeah, I'm not gonna rain on her parade.
Michael. Well, no. Let's go to Adobe selling AI generated images.
So this is interesting.
We probably should have talked about this with the war, but
this is all tied together, because this is what we're seeing, and this is the thing that we have to, especially our generation. We're not growing up with all this fake internet aspect, right?
Yeah.
Where teenagers are seeing fake versions of themselves right off the bat. We know what we look like. We know how we looked. We know what it was like to play outside. Yep. These kids that have this world now where it's completely over their eyes, and we're in the matrix. And so the thing that's interesting is that AI generated photos are being used as stock photos and not being labeled as such. So if you have these pictures of the war-torn city, the tank on fire, the bombings, all this stuff, they're using this in news articles as if they are real and happening in that moment. And it's really telling about where we're heading, because it's not only this kind of photo, but it's like, okay, when are we going to get the photo of Sleepy Joe at the hotel with a crack pipe, or hanging out with his son?
Don't give him ideas, bro.
Dude, but you know what I'm saying? It's like it's going on. When are we going to get the one with Trump with the Playboy magazine or whatever it was, the Forbes magazine? There's the one.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you're looking at how it's going to be visual, it's going to be audio, it's going to be all this misinformation, as in the tweets and all the other stuff.
Yep.
So it's quite interesting to see that this is what we're going up against every day. And this is where the youth is finding their information. It's all online. It's really quite telling. People who get their information from certain sources, it's like that's going to be their bubble that they live in.
Yep.
And they're never going to cite sources. They're never going to go outside that to see if it's real.
Yeah, this is going to get interesting. It's definitely going to be a long-term problem.
And we're just getting started.
It'll be interesting to see what the fixes are for this. So I'm going to end it on The Rock, but before that, I want to talk about Jenna Ellis and Chip Roy real quick. So for those who don't know, MTG wasn't my only side project. Jenna Ellis was as well.
Side chick?
Side project. Project. You better fix those earbuds, bro. Shit.
I said what I said.
Oh my God. I don't even know what I was saying. Jenna Ellis.
MTG was your side chick. Continue, please.
No.
Jenna Ellis, please.
Yeah, no, Jenna Ellis. So I've been trolling her for a while, and I kept telling her, you need to go ahead and make a deal before there's no deal left to be made. And she finally flipped on Trump. And some of the things she said, while not surprising to non-MAGA, non-Trump supporters, I'm sure it was a little surprising to others. And so here it is.
Okay. And at the time, period where they were going to start to discuss what was Dan Scavino's role?
At the time, I believe his title was social media director for the White House. It became deputy chief of staff at the time that the conversation in question took place.
Okay, and when was that?
The conversation was around December 19th of 2020 at the White House Christmas party. And I emphasized to him, I thought that the claims and the ability to challenge the election results was essentially over, because he said to me in a kind of excited tone, well, we don't care and we're not going to leave. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, the boss, meaning President Trump, and everyone understood the boss, that's what we all called him. He said the boss is not going to leave under any circumstances. We are just going to stay in power. And I said to him, well, it doesn't quite work that way, you realize. And he said, we don't care.
Okay.
Yeah. What I find interesting also, not only what she released, is the fact that that footage was released and it was leaked by one of the co-defendant's lawyers, who is a lesser co-defendant. Nobody big. It's not like Rudy Giuliani's lawyer.
Yeah.
So it's not a big fish. It's a lesser fish who leaked it. And what the purpose of leaking that was, because there's some unraveling taking place now. Because then he snitched on himself too, to the judge.
And of course, they turned around and submitted a dismissal.
For a number of things today.
Yeah, they tried to. Well, this was like, it was like the day after, a couple of days after. Like they're like, oh, we're gonna try to get a mistrial. It's like, fuck,
the mistrial is for the New York one, but the one for the January 6th.
They're trying to get the one with Judge Ingron. Yeah, no, Ingron or whatever his name is.
That's New York. That's New York.
I thought that's the other one.
No, that's New York. That's the one about the fraud that they're trying to do mistrial.
Right.
And then the one with, and that's also the gag order that they're trying to remove the gag order, which they just got rid of. But the one with January 6th.
They removed the gag order?
Yeah. They put a pause on it again.
Well,
but that's
why?
only one. That's only one gag order. We can get in that. That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh,
But then with Chutkin, they're trying to, which they've attacked her numerous times. That's the January 6th one, in DC, and they're trying to get her removed. They're trying so many different things. They're doing full.
They're trying to get them all removed. Laura Loomer's on Twitter trying to get Judge Ingron, whatever his name is, thrown off because of some post that his wife supposedly made and being anti-Biden. It's like, you guys are really going to go down that road when you're fine with Clarence Thomas sitting on the fucking Supreme Court when his wife literally posted in support of January 6th and most likely was funding it or assisting in some way, but you want to throw...
she bought a couple bus tickets. She did.
But you're going to throw this guy off. You're going to tell me that he can't do his job because of what his wife thinks?
And the fact that they talk about, they don't talk about politics at home. Okay.
My wife and I do. All right, so it's not quite connected, but I know we wanted to show this clip. And the funny thing was, when I first saw this, I thought Chip Roy was losing his shit because they haven't done anything. Like, when I first watched just this clip, I was like, oh, he's pissed off because he has nothing to campaign on. And then somebody corrected me, and they're like, no, he's mad because they're not being extreme enough. And it's like, oh. So here it is.
I want my Republican colleagues to give me one thing, that I can go campaign on and say we did. One. Anybody sitting in the complex, if you want to come down to the floor and come explain to me one material, meaningful, significant thing the Republican majority has done.
The answer is nothing. And they've been spending their time going after Hunter Biden and all this other
2020,
shit.
2020, Hunter Biden, Ukraine, and none of it is about having solutions. The inquiry, impeachment into Biden, none of them have any solutions. It's just monkey wrenches that they're throwing out there and Hail Marys, trying to capture something. But you said something really interesting. You said that one of your peers told you that was about him trying to be more extreme.
Yeah, because I thought I misinterpreted what he said. I thought he was attacking the Republicans for, wasting time and not doing anything that he can actually.
All I can say
on,
is
actually
that
helping people.
That clip alone is great PR for the Democratic Party to say. The Republican Party
Well, I
doesn't
mean,
have one thing to run off of. I mean, just in general. So context or not,
oh no,
that
absolutely.
that clip
It'll be a great
alone
commercial.
will literally solidify that the Republican Party doesn't have anything to offer you. Even their
But
own camp doesn't believe that they have anything.
like they're still trying to push the 2020 election thing, and I think they're doing it because
Hence the January
want
6th
to
footage.
they want to place even more, dark clouds over the 2024 election and get people doubting, and like it's very clear what they're doing. But it's just how many people are going to bite, how many people are going to, believe the bullshit. And I'm just, I'm going to say this every fucking time I'm on the internet. Donald Trump has been accused of raping a 13-year-old girl. He has 91 plus felony charges on him right now. He had classified documents stored in closets and bathrooms and ballrooms in Mar-a-Lago.
By the shitter, as our girl says in Dallas.
As Jasmine Crockett. Like this dude, he's stolen from cancer charities. He's ran fraudulent universities. He committed fraud in 1993 with his father when he was going to miss a loan payment, and his father sent lawyers into his casino to buy $3.2 million worth of chips and take them home and never cash them in so that he could make the loan payment. Like, this is who these fucking people are voting for. You're voting for a fraud, you're voting for a rapist, you're voting for a fucking domestic terrorist, and he's telling you all of it, and you're still voting for him. So what the fuck does that make you?
Complacent. Yeah.
Most likely you're supporting it because you do the same shit.
I think there's a little bit. I mean, I can't really speak for anybody.
I will.
On what shit they do. But I would say that I think the American dream was a lie, and people feel that their voice is being heard. But you have to keep in mind that he is a con artist. All those things that you laid out were all his cons, and his newest con is playing America. And and the reason why he is running for president, which I find so interesting, that the kid gloves are on when we talk about gag orders and all these other things and what he's allowed to do and how he's allowed to act. And Ryan, I can't stress this enough. No one's really looking at this like, well, we were going to prosecute him either way. He decided to run for president. So why are we giving him that leeway? Because he's the leading candidate. He's only leading in the far right Republican Party, and they don't really have anybody else to take up the wings from him, to take the reins, but to really capture that lift that they need. Tim Scott just dropped out. DeSantis can't find out if he's wearing heels or if he can figure out his smile. Nikki Haley is ragging, just dog walking him, and showing her expertise. Ramaswamy is, he's just a joke in every way, fashion. And Chris Christie, he just comes off as a disgruntled ex side chick for Trump, and it's one of those things. He's saying the truth, but he's saying the truth as being, the side chick who's already done that dance. And let's see if Trump does become the next main candidate. Does Chris Christie get behind him again? Looking for a cabinet seat, looking for a taste of power. That's going to be quite interesting. So it's not such a deep bench. I mean, but hey, it's a deeper bench than what the Democratic Party has right now. And most people want Big Gretch from Michigan to be running things instead of Biden. But everybody's kind of waiting, giving him his time, and they're like, okay, but I'll do the next round. I'll do 2028. But the question is going to be, is it best to sit out this one, or should you get in just to bring the best of the best out of the Democratic Party? And that's the part where I really wonder why the Democrats are not challenging Biden just to bring the best out of him. But at the same time, my man, people are hurting, which I keep in consideration, regardless if they vote for him. Some of them just got with the con, and I can't knock them for that, because they want to believe in the hype. They want to believe in his strength. He's great at selling all that. He is literally the same age as Biden, and no one's talking about him in the sense of ageism, because
Yeah.
of how, you're talking about him raping a young girl. When you're thinking rape, you're not thinking grandpa's raping people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, even then, you're perpetuating that he's this vibrant, angry thing that is like unstoppable. To
Yeah.
me, he's an old fucking crazy man who literally doesn't even know where he is anymore. He can't keep up with his lies. It's all colliding. And it's
Yeah,
like,
half time he's like thinks he's running against Obama, and
he doesn't know where the fuck he is. And it's
he doesn't know what
showing.
he's
It's starting
doing.
to crack. He's really starting to
Yeah.
show. But what's going to be interesting is that for the next year, he's going to be literally in courtrooms.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Do we show it, or do we keep it locked away for them to just come out and run and tell the news media? So it's something really interesting that we're going to see for this year coming up.
Yeah.
But
get your popcorn.
man, it's quite interesting in general to really just say it out loud, everything that we're about to witness.
And everything that's going on. I mean, we're seeing, like you said in the beginning of the show, we're literally living through, things that we've never had to live through before. At least definitely our generation, our parents' generation.
Yeah.
We have not seen this level of unrest, in so many different countries at the same time that we're dealing with so many domestic issues that we can't get under control. It's a shitstorm. But the one thing that I know for sure, is letting Donald Trump back in the White House would destroy this fucking country.
Oh, it's a death sentence.
It would be the death sentence. Like, there are people that were in the White House that day and in the time leading up that are telling you this man literally wanted to be a dictator and was not planning on fucking leaving.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. You let this man back in the White House, we're fucked.
And it's not even that. There will not be any safeguards.
No, none.
If he's back in there. Because he's now learned from his mistakes, and he's going to put nothing or plant nothing but yes men in those roles.
And so I'm going to end the show on these two things. Number one, Michael Rapaport went off today. And I got a quick clip of the part that I want to show. But leading up to this moment in the clip, he was talking about how Biden was not delivering, how interest rates for homeowners was high, that grocery prices are high, and that he basically laid it all on Biden's doorstep and said this.
If it comes down to pig dick Donald Trump and smoking Joe Biden, I'm sorry. I am sorry. Voting for pig dick Donald Trump is on the table. I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry. I'll still call him slob dick Donald Trump, pig dick Donald Trump, and all that. But we need to get this whole fucking situation under control.
So what bothers me is Michael Rapaport's been a pretty big vocal person against Trump. And he has a big following because of it. And to me, what he did today was he pulled a Tulsi Gabbard. Like all of a sudden he's sharing far right, internet accounts that are reposting his video. And they're all like, look, even Michael Rapaport's supporting Trump now. So he gave him that fucking nugget to run with. And it's like, bro, like you're literally saying, fuck the kids he's raped, fuck the money he stole, fuck everything because interest rates and groceries. Not like that's not affecting all of us. And as Ian said earlier in the show, guess what, clowns? If you go and you start looking at other countries like the UK, Ireland, and any country that's comparable to ours, we're actually doing pretty damn good with our interest rate and our food prices. Is it good?
But it's not good, but we're the best out of the globe.
But we're doing the best out of, and we have to factor that in. Just saying, well, we're all worse off than we were a year and a half, 2 years ago. No shit, dumbass. Because we were coming out of
COVID.
Global
pandemic.
COVID, all sorts of shit.
Pandemic.
Two wars going on. You got war in Ukraine and Russia. You got Israel and Hamas and Palestine. Like, this is so much going on. And to sit there and throw this all on Joe Biden's doorstep and then to come out and basically start campaigning for Trump, Like, okay, you've decided that domestic terrorists and sexual predators are something that you're willing to vote for over money. And that makes you a piece of shit. So
Which
Michael
is really
Rapaport,
interesting.
fuck you, bro.
I think he's going to be eating those words very soon.
Whether
And
he does or doesn't, I don't give.
well, he could choke on those 2 birdies you just threw at his direction.
Yep.
I think that will actually come back to bite him. I don't think that clip will age well. But what I will say is, we're a year away. So much can change within a year, especially in politics. I mean, look, George Santos wasn't leaving, and then he was. You know what I mean? Like it took 24 hours. So
Yeah.
it really a lot can happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that where I feel like Biden has this in the bag. I don't think he has it in the bag. But I do know one thing about Biden, and this is the thing I will say about the Democratic Party. They need to run off of all the accomplishments of everything that has actually happened in past, because a lot of things have happened, but nobody is talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. And this is now the time where they need to start putting that message out there of everything they've accomplished. And the thing with Joe, that I got to give him credit, he's a beast behind closed doors. He gets shit done. And he doesn't talk well on the mic. He stutters. He's an old man. We see his age. He doesn't take himself seriously, where he can joke about not remembering something or whatever the case is.
Yeah, I like
the
that
humility.
the
The humility is there, The thing that I don't rule out on him is that the Republican Party has been trying to dog walk him for since the election. And how many times, rack up the wins, have they now flipped the House, Senate seats and the presidency all under his tutelage? So it's, I'm not worried about it. To the extent of somebody like Rapaport talking all this bullshit, it's not going to age well, and he's going to quickly get called out here in New York, because that's what happens. Someone's going to definitely just let him know that he's a letdown, and it's like it's going to come full circle. So
here's my last question for you, and if you hadn't heard, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, has been doing a pretty serious press run over the last few weeks about running for president. Now, I'm going to show, hopefully this video actually shows you something, but if not, I'm sorry, and we'll just talk about it. But I did a quick video because it's him talking about it, and he talked about it on Joe Rogan's show.
He's doing the rounds.
Yeah, he's definitely doing the rounds. So here's the video.
2022, I got a visit from the parties asking me if I was going to run and if I could run.
Wow.
And it was a big deal, and it came out of the blue.
Wow.
Would The Rock have a shot?
Oh, gosh, yes, Brianna. Absolutely. I mean, look, we are in the middle of a huge populist moment in this country. The average American is sick of our politics. They think our politics is broken. They're sick of both parties. Somebody from outside of the political world like him would definitely have a shot.
A few moments later.
The Rob Johnson would be a brilliant US president. 2, 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I said, you know why I said it?
Man.
I said it because I want to see the crash and burn.
So you want to get me in the White House just so I can crash and burn?
Just so you can stress yourself out. Jesus. I just want to see you do this 13 times. Oh, I'm so sick of these people.
Have you seen the movie Idiocracy?
I haven't. Everybody's been telling me I got to go watch it.
Oh my God. He didn't realize he made a documentary. They're wearing Crocs in it, for Christ's sake. This thing was made in like early 2000, before Crocs were even a thing.
Oh, wow.
They literally built a wardrobe being like, let's put on the dumbest shoes that we could think of that dumb people would wear. Crocs.
Here we go.
It was actually Crocs. There's a character in there that is it's Terry Crews. He plays the president. And let me just say, when I think of The Rock, I think of that.
I mean,
but he's a very sophisticated individual. He's a very intelligent.
Look, I'm not.
He's a businessman.
Could he do the job? Yeah, probably. Do I want another fucking entertainer with absolutely no political experience going right to the White House? Fuck no.
Well, he is
No.
a Republican. He is a Republican, so it'd be interesting to see what his ticket looks like
Yeah,
and to see what he's about.
definitely a Republican, even though he tries very hard to straddle the fence so he doesn't lose fans. He's definitely a Republican.
Yeah, but I mean, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with being Republican as long as you're not just, crazy.
But
we
my
have
problem
to be-
is, if you're a Republican and you're not calling out what's happening right now, you're not calling out people that support domestic terrorists and sexual predators like Donald Trump, then you're just like the good cops that don't fucking say anything. And guess what?
Okay.
If you're one of those people that don't fucking say anything, then you're just as fucking bad as the bad cop. And that's how I look at
you're in bed
Republicans
with
at
them.
this
You're
point.
there. The tribalism is real, and
It
the
is.
thing that I find interesting is, I feel like Republicans have gerrymandered themselves into the situation. They've made their areas so red that they know that if they don't get on board with the messaging, somebody who is more right will come along and take it from them.
Yes.
And so when you look at why gerrymandering has really ruined our country, you look at it, if it was really a balanced of it's going to be a purple situation, you're going to see the better of the two coming out, meaning they're going to be more moderate, meaning that they're going to really focus on the issues, not let me see if I can out-Trump you and then take that seat. So I just really see people in that position, but Kevin Hart is not wrong for saying, oh yeah, I would love to see in that position, because you would be stressed the fuck out.
But what I liked was The Rock disagreed. Like, my man didn't even agree with him.
He has no idea what that position is. Everybody, the seat, the president's seat, ages you.
Oh yeah.
The Rock would not be in the gym. I mean, maybe he would be in the gym as much as he is
He'd
right
probably
now.
still be getting up at 4
You know what I
a.m. and
mean?
working out, but yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, you ain't getting up at 4 a.m. if someone's waking you up at 2 saying, hey, we have this situation, this crisis, we need you to come here. Like, so it's not so cut and dry.
He wouldn't
so I
be
don't
able
know.
to, he wouldn't be able to do what he does now.
No.
With that responsibility. That's
he would look like Moana Rock than he would like the Rock, okay? Just thick motherfucker with a bad hairline.
All right, so simple yes or no, Rock for president.
No.
Okay. It's no for me too. Sorry, Rock. Love your movies. I even liked you as a fairy hockey player, but president, no. You want to run for Congress or Senate and do a term or two in there, and then say I'm going to run for president, then I could probably buy you. Let me see what you do in the Senate or Congress for a few years.
But then again, I would say that Arnold Schwarzenegger was good for
Absolutely.
California.
But again, going back to what you just said, what is something that Arnold Schwarzenegger has done consistently? Come out and talked about how much of a Donald Trump, how he's a criminal, a predator, and all this shit. He has been very consistent in that.
Arnold has definitely turned his Republicancy into
he almost seems like moderate now. Like, he doesn't seem as far.
That's my point. That's my point. You find the moderate that is there.
Like, he's definitely still a Republican, but
I would love to see. I would love
yeah.
to see if The Rock actually started running Hawaii, his native location.
But
if
he grew
he
up in
actually,
San Francisco.
I mean, he has tons of family on the Bay Area and also in Hawaii.
I mean, it would be interesting to see where he would run. You know, the nice thing about him, though, is he could really, with the money he has and everything, he could find the best place to run, go buy a freaking house there, live there a year and run. You know,
I mean, right now,
he
in
has
the
that
situation,
ability.
some of these Congress members don't even live in the place that they're actually running in. So it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
Doesn't even matter.
and again, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to shit on The Rock in any way, shape, or form. Like,
I don't know, man. It looks like you're trying to pick a fight. Tell him to stand up.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. He looks like he might mess me
You
up.
sit your ass down. You are a podcast host. You sit your ass down.
Yeah, see, The Rock is 6 foot something, about 300 pounds. That's a little different. You know, I can admit when I would not do well. I don't think I would do well in that situation. But
Hit you with that Bernie. You keep your ass down
you
here.
sit your ass down before you get hurt. But yeah, no, I'm sure he seems like a very nice guy. And like Ian said, I don't think he's an unintelligent person whatsoever. He's clearly a good businessman. He's one of the
way
richest.
better than Trump.
Way better.
Than Trump.
Way better. You know, so I mean, again, not taking anything away from what The Rock does or anything. It's just we need to, like, we have good people in the pipeline on the liberal side that have the experience that we need to actually make the effective change that we're looking for. And we can't lose sight of that. Like I understand it's really tempting to take somebody like Dwayne Johnson with the star power he has and say, let's put him out there. This is going to be easy, and it probably would be because he's so popular.
But see, the moment that you make that decision that's going to affect people, and then you see those numbers really turn on you,
yeah,
he's going to see the situation that's at hand.
And he's had a couple times where, the public has turned on him for something he's done, and it was rough. Like, even me, I'm like, yeah, that was a little messed up or whatever, but damn, like, he didn't deserve all that. It's just, imagine being president. And going into it, imagine the expectation that the public would have on The Rock, on Dwayne Johnson. Like, there would be a lot of pressure there for him to do well, because we all look at him and say, look at him, though. He's a good businessman. Like, he's done very well for himself. He doesn't pick many bad movies. Like, the dude seems to make all the right moves for the most part. So it's like,
right.
Like I said, I get it.
Well, that's his agent. His agent is definitely making sure that his brand
ex-wife.
is on point.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah. But that's to me, that speaks a lot to the kind of person he managed to be. Because like when you get divorced and everything, it's not like, if you don't have kids or whatever, it's not normal to stay connected. I think they did have a kid, but to let her, yeah, but to have that person running your business, your life, it's like.
But keep this in mind, she's still getting half, so she wants to make sure he gets the best. You hear me? She wants to make sure.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a still vested interest there.
You know what I mean? So and she is the business, so I would not even think otherwise of that.
And he gives her that credit, which I like. Like,
yeah,
he definitely puts that in her lap and's like, hey, I couldn't do this without her and a couple other people on my team. And
what's that saying? For every great man, there's a smart woman standing right behind him.
Telling you, and I don't.
Do you know what I mean?
Behind every great man, there's great people behind them. Like, you can't do it by yourself. And I don't even
your
think
circle is everything.
It really is, man. Like, my wife is my everything, but I still need other people. Like, I need other people standing with me. It can't just be her.
Of course.
And I've realized that. And I think watching how The Rock's been able to, blend his family together and his his business and keep it within the family, is essentially what he's doing.
It's almost like Fast and Furious.
But he also has a lot of, friends in the business. Like, Kevin Hart is clearly a very good friend. They're not just, when you do 6-7 movies together, you clearly like each other. You clearly like to work together. So,
yeah.
So with that said, I am going to end the show there. I just want to repeat that on this show, we don't support terrorism. But we also don't support overreacting and making situations worse. So I'm going to leave everybody with, I am sincerely praying for the people of Israel, people of Palestine, the people of Ukraine, and even innocent people in Russia that are getting caught up in this bullshit and starving because all their money's going to war. And like, there's so many people out there suffering because of these wars. And I don't want us to forget those people. So, if praying's not your thing, sending good vibes, health, whatever's your thing, whoever you believe in, whatever, send it to these people because, it's the least we can do. And
I'm sending Bernie Sanders with them fingers.
Yeah.
Everybody do right.
Yep.
Do right.
And as always, thank you for supporting Ian and I. We really love doing the show, and we appreciate everybody that comments in the comments and comes on, and you guys make it more fun. And I like talking to you guys after the show so that I can get your feedback too. So with that, I'll leave you as I always do with much love. Keep fighting, and we'll see you.